Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up everybody inside the building. Of course, Younes will be here in just a second. And we're just realigning plans because I'm only just seeing this Frank Lampard interview drop. I haven't been online today. You know what I'm saying? I'll be trying to breathe fresh air and enjoy the sights and the sounds of the world. And I see that Frank Lampard has dropped a masterclass, it seems. Now I don't know what's going on. I haven't heard a single bit of it, but I will, I guess, play some of it in terms of the timestamp of the Chelsea part, and then you can get these normal authentic reactions from us, I guess, because yeah, I certainly didn't expect to be waking up to this today, but Younes is in the building as well.
Hello.
Everybody's here. Wow, Frank Lampard. So, okay, that's not why
Frank Lampard?
Yeah, Younes is it.
Come on, and I hear Frank. What?
He's coming in as an interim manager again.
Breaking news, Frank Lampard is back at Chelsea. I'm joking.
There's a huge interview, Younes, that's circulating around.
There's a podcast I saw. I saw.
Aaron, 55 minutes.
Yeah, and Diary of a CEO. How he managed to get on there? I mean, fair play to Lamps to get
Is
on.
that huge? Like, I don't know too much about. Like, is that like a huge?
It's a huge podcast. It's got, I think, 2 million subs or something like that. So,
yeah. Stephen Bartlett is the host. He's doing a mad job, man. Like the way he's directing. Like I'm only up to 15 minutes of it in the beginning. But apparently he opens up about Chelsea. He
does, yeah.
Lets loose. So
let me see, because it's obviously got timestamps. I don't know if
it's later on. I think after an hour.
Yeah.
I've only seen the timestamps.
I've seen that there is a particular timestamp called the standards at Chelsea just when they're 55:05.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to start, because I believe that's where Chelsea Hour is kicking off.
Yeah, Chelsea Hour, and then I've seen a couple other people are like, oh, here we go again. He's blaming everyone else besides himself. So you got 55:05, you got 59:57, you got 1 hour 4 minutes as well, which is about Chelsea.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit.
Well, before Frank Lampard potentially kills the vibe, how's everybody doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, not too bad.
All good, bro.
You good?
All good, bro. All good.
All right, let's.
How about yourself?
I'm good. You know, I'm obviously on edge about Caicedo as everybody is, but I don't know. It seems like, according to Felix, it seems like we're moving in the right direction in terms of there's a package that we got to put together, and it's either, you know, we put the 100 million in the 4 installments, similar to the Declan Rice deal, where they've had to put it in installments, and then obviously potentially all the 85 up front. So I don't know which way we're going to go with this, but I'm sure we haven't been talking behind the scenes this long to say, nah, we're not going to do that now.
Do not worry.
You're not worried? You're not worried. Great. Miz, you good?
I'm very confident he'll be Chelsea player. I'm not worried about that. I'm more concerned about when, because I don't want excuses this season. I don't want excuses. I don't want Poch to be able to say somewhere down the track, oh, but we got Caicedo on the 5th of August and we haven't had enough time for him to gel with Enzo, and that's why we didn't win against Liverpool. That's why. No.
Well, I mean, Poch did already clarify that there won't be any excuses.
I know. I'm not having a go at.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at Poch. I'm just saying I don't want excuses. And I would love to see Caicedo. I thought this was going to be the week that we see Caicedo, but I think we're not going to see him, and we're potentially going to leave without him well, he's going to the United States as well anyway.
We're playing him. I mean, if the deal gets done at half time, he can maybe just change, come onto the other side of the dressing room.
Maybe we're doing that against Brighton, do we?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We play.
Yeah,
we play
against Newcastle as well.
It's the Caicedo derby. Caicedo and Colwell derby. I want Levi
Caicedo and Colwell derby.
Yeah, I want CCC. You know what I'm saying? I want Colwell to play that game And I want him to play that game.
You know what?
Brighton fans understand.
Can we leave a little bit of segment today where we talk a little bit about Colwell? Because I found that really interesting.
What do you can't believe?
Because the Big Six, the conversation you guys had, I had no idea. I don't know about you guys. I had no idea this guy was a Liverpool fan.
I didn't know until yesterday.
Yeah. That's kind of how I think this whole push started from them, is the fact that he is a Liverpool fan. And there's a picture of him, maybe when he's 7 wearing the top, and that's how they've engineered and started the propaganda, and the momentum started from there.
But why does it always happen that a player, if he's linked to a club, he's that club's fan from childhood? Well, we haven't heard about anything ever before. Why does that happen all the time?
It's the same with Mbappe, isn't it?
I am linked to Liverpool. I have been a Liverpool fan all my life. I was a childhood Chelsea fan. And nothing before that link. So why does it always happen?
But do you know what I was quick to do, and this was probably for me one of the moments on the show where I had to be like, oh, Undertaker, and really sit up. They were starting to say, Chelsea fans are being really weird about Colwell. They're trying to almost really insecure, and you guys just need to chill. It's just a bit of banter. I said it wasn't a bit of banter when you was dashing eggs at Steven Gerrard's car and his house. Sorry, was it? When he wanted to join Chelsea under Jose Mourinho, it wasn't a bit of banter then, was it? In Scouse land, you guys were absolutely dragging the shit out of your captain. And I was like, just remember how touchy you can get about academy products before you start trying to stick it on us. Do you know what I mean? Because the last time I remember, Joe wanted to join us, and the only reason why he didn't is because he was gonna probably lose his life. So you know what I mean. All right, let's get rid of any of this spam.
Yeah, what I want to say, do the slow mode, bro. Do the slow mode.
What's going on with all that?
About Levi Colwell quickly, if anyone can explain, how do you end up growing up? No. You're born, I think, in Southampton. You grow up at Chelsea and you support Liverpool. How's that happened?
Confused.
Mad things happen. Yes, mad things happen in life.
He's got nothing to do with Liverpool or the North, for that matter. I don't know.
Yeah, it was when we do talk about Colwell, it was quite interesting, some of the stuff that Grizz was saying. Like, Liverpool really want this guy. Liverpool really wants him.
Yeah. But that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think in terms of a young up and coming centre backs, I think he's right up there with some of the best ones. But he has to, once he does stay and he does play. This is why I'm not quick to cuddle him or hype him. I've not done a single tweet about him, because when he does stay, he has to perform. He needs to perform.
Yep. It's a good point that you just said. Even I've been a bit sort of tippy-toey around this. I'm like, I rate him a lot. I would love to see him at Chelsea Football Club and flourish, but I don't really know whether he completely believes in Chelsea. Like, I just have that feeling.
I don't personally like this idea of us letting go of Chalobah, because we have seen enough of Chalobah, but we haven't seen anything of Colwell yet. And to imagine that he is he's ahead of Chalobah in the pecking order, that does not make sense to me.
But we have seen of Colwell at Brighton, though.
But we also saw of Gallagher at Palace, didn't we?
Yeah.
But Brighton is no Palace.
Brighton actually play the standard of football.
They play ball.
They
we also saw Kukurea.
Yeah. I don't think Kukurea is a bad player.
I don't think Kukurea is a bad player either.
They play a standard. Bob's like, own him! Shut up your mouth!
My man's spitting facts.
So Younes is not in the hype, is he? He's not.
No, not involved in this hype.
So the thing is Brighton play a standard of football we could only wish to play next season. That's the thing.
That's what I mean. That's
the thing.
I never wish that we play like Crystal Palace.
I'd be very, very happy.
See, I'm not saying Chalobah is world class, but at least he should get a fair chance to compete with Colwell in the team.
I think, listen, I don't want Chalobah to go, but it seems like he only wants 4 centre backs. So if he only wants 4 and he's including Silva in that, then
Silva will be out anyways, right? Next season. So we would be in the market for another centre back. Why to let go of Chalobah then?
It depends how highly we rate Chalobah in a back 4. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Chalobah in a back 4 isn't like this top centre back. Clearly, do you know what I mean? I think in the back 3, I think I've been more impressed than in the back 4.
Because we haven't played enough of back 4. Last season for me does not exist, to be honest. Last season, what we did back 3, back 4, I don't have any memory. I don't have any recollection of what happened last season. So I think it would be unfair to judge players on the basis of the last season.
Look,
And
in all honesty, I don't disregard Chalobah 1B. I actually rate Chalobah as well. I think I still remember what Chalobah did for us, Super Cup under Thomas Tuchel when he broke through the early stages of that season.
Yeah.
I still remember against Brentford, he was massive for us. He's got maybe he does. Of course, I think he doesn't have the same quality as Lewa Colwell on the ball, but Chalobah is no mug either with the ball. I've seen him deliver nice, lovely long passes from deep. He can take long-range shots from deep. We've seen him score goals like that. The thing with Chalobah is never got the consistency with Chelsea Football Club. That stage, never been given, a number of games in a row to show exactly what he can bring. So, but I understand that he doesn't want to be a big part player anymore, and he seems to be a bit of a surplus to requirements.
So I don't think Trevor will get the England call up. Most likely, I think with the centre backs that are there, I think Colwell though is for me going to be a starter at that position ahead of Maguire. If Maguire's started ahead of him, then I don't know what's happened. Something's gone wrong somewhere. So I think he's a top talent. And I think the hype is, I can understand the hype because he is that good. And I think, that's why last season I was so adamant that we kept him and I didn't want Thomas Tuchel to sell him. But now, he's in that delicate stage of the hype's there. Everybody knows how good he is. He's got interest from big clubs. He's in that Hudson-Odoi stage. But you have to actually go and do it now. And
Exactly.
and I'm like,
Exactly.
I know you can do it. I think you can do it, and I think you will do it. But I want you to actually go and do it anyway. Just for everyone else, just go and do it. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And then after it's done, then sign the contract, long term, finished. Position finished for the rest of the next 5, 6, 10 years, hopefully.
The thing is, the logical thing that needs to be put here, the hype is the hype, and I think it's, to an extent, it can be justified because of how he's played, but he's not even walked through into Cobham as a senior player yet. He's not even met Poch yet.
No, he hasn't.
He's not played a senior minute. This is where there has to be some sort of realism as to, and this is where I think it's justified to maybe on Chalobah's side, that Poch even needs to not just meet him, but see what he's about first and see how he can fit, see how he plays in pre-season or those first few training sessions to get an idea of what he's even about. And then at that point, yes, okay, we can start moving in terms of Poch might go, nah, he's special. I think I've got a big plan for him or something. But only up until that point, we can't just be like, yeah, Chalobah, you're out, mate. Colwell, you're in. It doesn't compute. So, although I think that's what's going to happen, and I think it'll be deserved, but you can't just make that decision just off the bat like that, because that can get into Colwell's head, and he thinks he hasn't even played a minute yet, and he's everything. You have to avoid that.
Do you know what, Younes? Now, you 100% you have a point. He shouldn't just get the red carpet laid out for him.
Exactly.
Like, mate, this is all yours. Chelsea Football Club, you're the hero, you're the star boy. I've always maintained. I personally think from watching Brighton last season, and I've watched Lewa Colwell's at least a handful of games, especially the Arsenal one that Brighton played. He was doing stuff that I've not seen a left-sided defender do. Do you know what I mean? He was at one point not just only defending, but tracking Odegaard all the way down to Arsenal's third, leaving the spot. He was doing some ridiculous stuff that I was like, wow, this is new things that you're getting to see a defender do. But as Younes, you said, I hate this. I hate this vibe. I think Lewa Colwell almost wants it to be a red carpet treatment. He don't want no one to bother him. I just get that feeling.
I hope not. I feel
disagree.
like there's a lot of it coming from the fan base because he's from Cobham. If he wasn't an academy product, there wouldn't be this hype. They'll be like, no, he's good, he's decent, but there wouldn't be this, oh my God, yeah, no, Colwell's got to make it, he's got to make it. It's because he's an academy player. We've been through this before. Let's not make the same mistake again.
But do you know what? Funnily enough, right? So there's the people that always rated him and obviously desperately want him in the team. Then there's the people that didn't rate him last summer, were happy to take money for him, but are now angry with him because he's not giving you the proper Chelsea beating of the chest. Now, everybody, when Mason Mount was given the boy who had a dream banner, proper Chelsea captain against Luton, all of that, and then he started to, engineer his exit, people lost their shit. The way I look at it with Levi Colwell is just because he's come from the academy doesn't mean he needs to do all of that proper Chelsea shit. At least he's being honest. It's very clear. All the reports is, I want to play. I'm not asking about money. No money has ever been mentioned. I want to play games because I want to make the Euros next summer. And also I want to play and I want to know that I'm in the plan because last summer you guys tried to sign Ake, Koulibaly, Vardiol, Fofana you signed, and a couple of other centre Delit you were interested. So let's be frankly honest, right? All of those centre backs were young, apart from Koulibaly. Badia Shield's coming in January. If I'm Levi Colwell and I'm his agent, I'm saying you guys just tried to sign like 5 under 23 centre backs. I'm not really sure what. And yes, Poch is here and he can talk. But if I'm listening to Poch, who could be sacked in a year because it's the club and that's the history of Chelsea, or I'm listening to Klopp, who's definitely going to be at Liverpool, Pep, who's definitely going to be at City, it's a lot easier to listen to them because they're staying. So.
But Matisse, does he think there's not going to be any competition? Like, I don't know. I get this vibe that he doesn't want competition.
No. I mean, to be honest, I don't know where that vibe comes from because he's not said anything. I think a lot of people are reading into him. So I'll make a.
He's got contract negotiations going on as well.
Exactly. So he has to be quiet because if he starts saying, "Oh, I'm definitely staying," during before he's had the meeting, then he goes in and he lowballs himself or he doesn't. He doesn't put himself in a good position. I'll make a comparison with Reece James, right? Reece James is another kind of withdrawn, quiet individual, can be a bit cocky. We saw a little bit of skill, 1-2 steps in Champions League. If Nigel James, and he just did a podcast and he just said with the Beautiful Game on YouTube, they're a great episode if you haven't checked it out. He just said that when they came back from Wigan, he was saying, do you know what, Reece, you need to go to Crystal Palace. They're interested in you. They're going to pay Marina 20 million. She's happy to sell you. I want you to go and play consistently. So that was the idea for Reece to go to Crystal Palace. The only reason why Reece James ended up staying is because Lampard, again, similar to Poch, had the conversation and said to him, you're part of the plans. You're going to be playing with Azpilicueta. If you remember the January before when Sarri was in, we were going to sign a right back from Napoli. If we had signed that right back from Napoli, that would have been 2 right backs ahead of James. James would have left. That's not to say but now James is proper Chelsea. Now James is a contender for the captaincy. So a lot of these things are about timing. And it's about circumstance. It's not about the player specifically. And this is why I don't want to, unless they're Lukaku this summer, I'm not going to absolutely land the vitamins on them because it's all circumstantial. If we don't sign 6-7 players in January, a lot of these players that are leaving that people now really heavily dislike, they probably don't go anywhere. So it's all circumstantial. But the thing is with Colwell is he doesn't project that Gallagher, that Loftus-Cheek vibe, so it has to be the other way. I'm not bothered if he doesn't do that because that means he's not selling you a dream. At least he's not selling you a dream. Yeah. So
True. I'm not bothered about that either.
For me, it's business, and if we are going to give him opportunities and we're going to play him and we're going to give him a chance, he's going to stay. If we're going to, get a little bit sidetracked and distracted and say, actually, no, so I've seen some people say in the chat, sell him for 60 million and get Vardiol. For me, that's a pointless transaction. 2 young centre backs, I think they both have top potential to be some of the world's best. Pointless transaction. So for me, if you believe in your talent, you're gonna actually give them a chance. You're gonna use them. If you're not, then the talent was kind of right to doubt you in the first place. That's how I see it. And this is kind of a consequence of us being unstable, having 3 managers in a year, and shopping and having that flaunting that cash. You have to understand that when you flaunt that cash, there's consequences that come with it. You can sign a lot of players, but they're not, players that are already at your club are gonna be like, okay, what about me? That's how it goes.
Okay.
No, go on, Younes.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of, I reckon there's a fine line, and I just hope that it's not being misconstrued. There's a fine line between, I want an opportunity, I want to be given a chance, let me prove myself, and no, I must play.
This is where I was getting
that's
to.
The difference, and I hope it's more. No, I'm here. I want to be here. Let me show you what I can do. I hope that's the mentality. If he's going in that mindset, I'm absolutely on board. 100%.
And this is exactly what I don't want him to beat his chest and go, I'm proper Chelsea, I bleed blue, this, that, and the other. I do not care because all of that we've seen go down the drain. I'm more in Younes's bandwagon where is it you better give me opportunity or else see you later. Like, yeah, you will get opportunities, but Lewa Colwell, you're 20, brother. Like, there will be challenges in your life. Buddy Shield will challenge you. And may the best man win at the end. Like, just because you coming in, Buddy Shield is young as well. If he does well in certain areas and takes over your position, what's going to be your reaction to that? Can you bounce back and go, do you know what? I'm going to work even harder and win my position back. Or are you going to be one of those players that's just going to say, oh, so all of a sudden I play a couple of bad games and Buddy Shield takes over my position and now I'm out of the picture altogether. I'm going to a different club. I don't want that type of a player. I want someone who's going to fight. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be adversity in life.
Yeah,
there will be adversity.
Listen, anyone, for me, the way I see it is anyone who's coming through the Chelsea Academy, if they don't understand that, then they can't have come through our academy in the first place. It's not possible because you're going into Chelsea knowing that this is a massive club. There will always be competition. This is not a place where you are guaranteed anything because we're always trying to improve. So we're going to give you a chance, but you have to keep raising your level. Exactly. And every academy player should know that. If you're playing for a small, I mean, even Brighton, he didn't start at Brighton. At the beginning of the season, it was Webster, it was Dunk, it was Estepanan in the back three sometimes. So it's not like at Brighton, he's kind of being spoiled to thinking, I start every week and I'm the main guy. He had to work to get his place at Brighton and he had to wait for an injury. I think it was to Webster. Then he won the place and then he didn't give it back because he was that good. So should have already built that up at Brighton. Reece James, when he came to Chelsea, he didn't start straight away. Espelikueta had most of the minutes, then he just slowly got in. I think for me, what I believe is that Levi Colwell just wants the opportunity to say, listen, if I'm playing well or I'm training well, am I going to play? If I'm doing what I need to do, am I going to play? 100%. Or is it going to be a political thing where you still can't play because we paid for someone else? And that happens a lot. So as long as that's not the case,
that's a good point.
As long as everybody has because a lot of times at this club, not everyone has an even playing field. The people that are paid big money for, they obviously get preference because everybody needs to see them because we're trying to make sure that we don't, make a loss. So that's the trade-off. But
and this is a true point, Matisse. I don't know if you guys saw Simon Jordan of TalkSport had an interview with someone from, it might have been Teddy Sheringham, and there was a time where Teddy Sheringham said, "I'm starting Harry Kane." And at that time, I think they had Roberto Soldado. And Soldado, they paid good money to have him in the club.
Show it to the
and Daniel Levi came into the dressing room saying, I just saw the starting lineup. Why is my man that I bought, Roberto Soldado, why is he in the bench? And why is this academy boy starting? And then Teddy Sheringham's like, do you want to win games or do you want to worry about the political side of things? And then obviously now we see where Harry Kane is and where Roberto Soldado ended up being. But it's a true point. Hostage. It's a true point though. Like, and maybe this is where Levi Colwell's coming into the frame where he's going. Is there going to be politics involved here? You bought players, Wesley Fofana for a lot of money. You bought Buddy Shield as well. You haven't bought me. I'm an academy product. Are you going to always shuffle me?
I think there's a lot of noise because he hasn't had an opportunity to go one-on-one with Poch. Once he's back, he's had that conversation. I don't think so we'll be hearing too much about him staying or, being dissatisfied. Because once he is integrated and assimilated into this, this team and the way we are training right now, good vibes only, again, as we see on the training field now. But I think once he's in the team, he starts training. Poch sees him performing, putting in the hard yards, and we are off to preseason. I think all of this will die down.
Once he's at Cobham, once he's with the lads.
Once he's at Cobham.
At that point, I think it'll all calm down.
Yeah, I think.
By the way, it wasn't Teddy Sheringham, it was Tim Sherwood.
Tim Sherwood, Tim Sherwood. Did you see the mentality monster has left? I mean, do you know what?
He left a while ago, isn't it?
Yeah, the mentality monster left. I didn't even mentality monster much.
Not much of a monster. Not much of mentality either.
A new manager is a mentality monster. The way he's giving all these interviews and press conferences.
I thought he'd already left, to be honest, until I saw the announcement. No, but then I saw the announcement that he'd left. I thought, oh, you're still here.
Matt, he came up with one diagnosis and bounced.
He just said, I'm going to weed out the dickheads.
He was like,
bro,
sorry,
he
lads,
turned
all
out to
of
be the
them are
biggest
dickheads.
dickhead.
I can't do this.
He turned out to be the biggest dickhead out of them all.
All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on with this Lampard clip, man. I don't know what's going on here.
This is going to be interesting.
Is it controversial? Are people going crazy about it? Or?
I've not been on Twitter once.
Twitter going a bit wild.
Yeah, let's see.
It never crossed my mind that the size of the squad has such a big impact, but it makes perfect sense because you need that sort of healthy competition. And I believe your first team was it 32 players?
Yeah,
which is more than you're allowed to register for the Premier League or Champions League. So you had this kind of surplus of
a lot of players. A few are always injured, probably. So that comes down a bit. But it's the surplus, and it's a surplus of the makeup of the squad is international players generally. Because if there were a couple of young players, but when you try and build a squad, it would be like this is my core kind of 15 or 16, and then you go and maybe these two experienced players that might not need to play every week, and then we've got these kids that are waiting and they're like just happy to be there. They want to play. They're going to be training, and if you give them an opportunity, they'll be like. But when you have like international players in a big number, then of course you're telling internationals you've got to stay at home. It's not easy, and to have the conversation every Friday with them and get them lined up coming in is also not easy for your own energy. Do you know what I mean? So that's not easy. I don't care what kind of a man manager you are. Like it's like next you're not playing, okay. Next you're not playing. Like however you try and box that up to a player, eventually they'll probably go, I know I'm not playing. Stop telling me this shit. Do you know what I mean? So I think that was an interesting learning curve for me. Like an interim job is what it is. And I kept getting asked, people, it was kind of frustrating at times, like, are you finding this so hard? And you find this so hard? I was like, what? I'm back home in a club that I love, a fantastic training ground. I'm doing everything I can in this job to try and improve it. But I knew behind the scenes, there were a lot of things that, myself and my staff, we want to improve. We want to coach. We want to sort of, when you lack those basics, and as I say, I think there's an understanding in the club that it has to change now. I think it has to change. Then if you lack those basics, then it's really hard to get where you want to get to.
How does that happen though? So there's these 32 players, and then Chelsea spends more money than I think anyone's ever spent in a window, in that sort of January window. You bring in all of these players on these long contracts, which I've never heard before. I think it was like 8-year contracts, and they're all like class, amazing individual players. Is that because the new owner doesn't understand those dynamics of football? Because that's what it seemed like for me. I thought, either this is a genius or an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't want to criticize anyone like on a personal level, but as a fan looking in, I go, signing these players on 8-year contracts, they're great players spending all this money. The impact on culture when you just throw stars in at such quantity.
Yeah.
It looked like inexperience and naivety.
I think that's understood now in terms of what it's meant with those 30 players. And I think you've seen that now in that already. I think around 6, 7, 8 players have left. So I think that the intentions are certainly good. I know that because the owners gave me an opportunity to go in there and I had a good relationship with them. Their intentions to do a good job at Chelsea are amazing. They want to take the club and be the best. They have great intentions. So now I think those younger players, now with a new voice, a new manager, the squad coming tighter, I think they'll have a greater chance to show what they've got anyway. And they're talented players. And, I remember being in Chelsea when Eden Hazard arrived. The pre-season, it was like, is this kid, he was a bit lazy looking, he was a bit kind of strolling around. Is this kid definitely? And then that first season, it was like, oh no, he's really good. And then on the second and third season, like, no, this kid's one of the best players the Premier League's seen, whatever. Thierry Henry, Didier Drogba, like you can go through all these players who are like absolute legends. Now, if you're asking, those 5, 6, 7 players to come in and hit the ground running in a difficult moment for the club, it's understandable. So I think as a Chelsea fan, you look at it and kind of go, right, okay, that is positive. There's talent there. Okay, it needs to be worked with. Now I'm sure that you can see the squad's getting trimmed. And as I can say, hand on heart, the intentions of the owners is absolutely, they've spent that money because they want to do well. Now, if they're going to address the situation a bit, that's their strategy going forward. But I do think, you'll see players like Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, and these players, Madueke, young players, they're going to develop and they're going to be big players for the club. You have to get the structure right and the strategy right going forward.
My thing is that adding like...
so far, he's been quite pleasant. You know what I find?
So that's actually been right.
when there's no stress, he speaks so well. This is like how he was in the first season at Chelsea when he was after the transfer ban. It's only when the stress comes and the grey hair follicles start to rise, that's when things start to go left for him.
This is why people were looking for vibes when he first came in, man. Because like, away from the actual games and losing every week, it's actually nice listening to what he's got to say. But when you get to the actual coaching, it's like, mate, what the hell is going on?
Because when he's in the dugout, lining up a 3-6-1 against Real Madrid, it's just like,
exactly.
But do you know, obviously we as fans knew having a bloated squad how much of an issue it can be. But hearing from Frank, the process that he had to go through every Friday, letting the players know you're sitting at home. Imagine us being in that position and telling Aubameyang or telling XYZ, Christian Pulisic, mate, you're not, don't even worry about coming in. You're staying home. That would not be a healthy place. Like that would not be a good job to do. Do you know what I mean? Like that's such a.
I think everyone. I think everyone here always sympathised with the squad size. Though we always knew that was a big issue. That was actually one of the reasons as to why I didn't want initially someone to come in straight away, because I was like, they're gonna have to deal with all of these squad size issues, and then they're gonna stay. So then it's gonna potentially take a hit on the relationships that they're trying to build and the chemistries. And then next season they're kind of starting off potentially on a negative footing because they've had to go through all these awkward, tough conversations. Where if we just kind of just throw someone in there as an interim to just kind of do our dirty work, then by the time the new manager comes in the summer, it's kind of already quietened down. Obviously, Enrique was willing to just go in there straight away and just get his hands dirty. He didn't care. He's ready to go straight in. But Enrique,
he probably would have just told those players that are not part of his plan, just stay home permanently until the transfer window's open.
It's weird though, because you feel like contractually you have to let them train, right?
You have to,
yeah. Because like they didn't sign for Chelsea to stay at home; they signed for Chelsea to use the facility. So you'd have to split the group, which is what Poch is doing now.
You know, they do come in and train, because he did mention there that it's every Friday he has to tell these players before a match day. So you're staying at home in terms of the match day, not in terms of training. You're coming into training, everyone comes into Cobham to train. But when it comes to, all right, we got a game on Saturday or we got a game on Sunday, I'm going to let you know if you're in the squad this weekend. I'm sorry, you're not in the squad. You're staying home.
That's so weird, though. Can you imagine training all week and then you're not even going to the game? Like, there's fans that are going to the game. You ain't even going to the game.
Exactly. And then imagine having the same player back on the Monday, join the training again.
Yeah,
it's
not nice.
That's not nice.
Not it at all. Do you know what? The next segment is who's recruiting these players, which I guess may give us an insight as to the pecking order, even though we probably know it's Lawrence.
He talks about how the players apparently wanted to leave and this, that, like. There are other juicy stuff, I think, that's coming through. Yeah. Up to you if you want to go through it.
I'll go through the next couple of Chelsea segments. I'm not going to obviously go through anything after that, because I guess this is a trailer.
These players all at once, pretty much halfway through the season, in a squad that's already struggling to figure out who it is under Graham Potter. It begs the question, like, who's doing the recruitment here? Because at other clubs, it's a much more strategic. It seems like a much more strategic and intentional and football-driven approach to recruitment. Whereas from what I saw at Chelsea, and I have actually spoken to some people at Chelsea who are involved in recruitment, it seemed like chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there for that period,
right?
So that was I got there in April, and so January was the last window, and obviously they spent last summer. But I think the change of ownership. And then obviously some people moved on who were in the hierarchy of the club. And so there was changes. So there was a big change of structure. So I think you have to give some time and some leeway for the process. And there certainly now are sporting directors, recruitment people in there, having worked with them, who are very talented, very hungry, good to go. And I think now it will be up to them to take the club forward. They haven't signed bad players. I think this maybe the strategy of bringing them all in at that time, looks a bit excitable at the minute, as in terms of there's a lot of players for success. But I think probably there's a long game, and I think there's a plan. And I think probably most huge clubs like Chelsea have had a version of what this period is. Manchester United, you mentioned there, Arsenal for quite a long time, Liverpool for periods, so I think we have to give different. I think to overjudge now, when I think they have signed some good players, would be to be overcritical. I think at the moment, I think the proof will be now how these players develop once now it feels a bit more settled going forward.
I think that's all true. I think what's the optimal way for player recruitment to happen in your opinion? Because you often hear about these stories of where an owner will take charge of a club and then they'll just decide who they want, which is probably what I'd be like if I was an owner. I think I would, I'd like Football Manager. I think I just buy who I want to buy, who I think looks good. Manchester United suffered with that. It felt like our decisions were commercial decisions as opposed to footballing decisions. Then when Erik ten Hag's come in, it feels a bit more like it's football decisions. What, in your opinion, and then I did speak to some people at Chelsea because I was invited to sit with Richard Arnold and a couple of the Manchester United executives, and when we played Chelsea at Old Trafford, I was in the director's box.
Okay.
So I sat with the new sporting director at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And he said there's now 2 sporting directors, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to talk to them. But what is about the optimal way for recruitment to happen in your opinion?
Well, I think you have to understand what you want the philosophy and the identity of the club to be. So, for instance, I think Manchester City are quite firm in the idea when the Pep Guardiola's come in and the sporting directors have worked at Barcelona previously with him, that this is how we want to play. This is a manager that's going to deliver that style. So here's how we recruit for that style. Chelsea's always been a bit different for me. The beautiful game, the tick-attack, as you call it, Man City, has not been Chelsea style. It's been more of a winning machine in a different kind of way. In my day, it was more of a powerful team. That was probably, we were good on the eye, but we were not that kind of, pass. We were like powerful and effective. So I think you have to understand what you want to be. And once you get to that point, the first thing is to recruit a coach that, works within that. And then, that's the kind of coach you want, because this is what you want to be. Those conversations are an interview process. And then once you get to that point, I think the recruitment has to be joined up, depending on how active the owner wants to be. And I respect and appreciate active owners. It's their clubs, their prerogative. And then the sporting directors and the manager, and then obviously recruitment, which brings all the data analysis into the picture, and it has to be joined up, and you have to be all very confident by the time you want to bring in a player that you're going, this is the player we want to bring in. There are always 1 or 2 or 3 options because you may not get target number 1, but I think you have to be able to recruit for the style that you want to be. So the coach really has to have a big buy into that as well. But you, as a coach in the modern day, you understand the process. I appreciate being aligned and having other people, not just responsible for who you're bringing in, but also like giving me something that I don't know. I'm not there siphon through the data. They have to show you that data, and here's the reasons why, the videos, people that have watched them, and also the personality of the player. Because not to say you're going to sign, 10 James Milners because their character's amazing and their professionalism, but you need to know they're going to come in the dressing room they're going to be good for the dressing room, and they're going to help in terms of how you drive forward in terms of their personality.
One of the key questions I want to answer, and I wanted to ask you today, is like, what would have had to happen to avoid the situation where you had that unhealthy culture at Chelsea behind the scenes, and when you came back in as the interim? What could you have done to avoid that happening? Say you were if you could, in hindsight, have a wand and correct things that were done. I get the first point, which was about smaller squad size. What else? What else avoids that?
Me, from my first day in there.
You're a genie, and you can, knowing what you know about what you inherited there. What would have had to be done previously to avoid you inheriting that? The smaller squad is the first thing that I got.
Yeah, smaller squad. I mean, some things are just a bit, like there are phases, and I think Chelsea, they won the Champions League. I left. They won the Champions League like 3 or 4 months after I left. And at that point, you kind of go, okay, where's the next move? And you kind of go, how was recruitment then? What things worked then? And maybe some players left during that period. Maybe in terms of recruitment, you wanted to bring in, maybe some people would be like the future in terms of, when I was at Chelsea before, I wanted to bring in Declan Rice. I was like, this kid's going to be the captain of Chelsea for the next, 10 years. It didn't happen, but anyway. But I think in terms of those things, it's hard for me to sit here and kind of dissect, other people's work in that period in between. Like I would have maybe had an idea. It wasn't my idea because I'd already left the club. So maybe like when I came in, it's really hard for me to kind of dissect all those moves. I came into what I came into. So, I think it'd probably be a little bit casual for me to go, they should have done this. It's a hindsighty one that's.
Yeah, it's kind of me wondering, just because I've been a Man United fan and I've seen that happen, and I saw obviously Sir Alex Ferguson leave, and then we just had these 10 years of what I describe as like confused chaos. And I'm trying to figure out almost like how in a Sir Alex Ferguson situation, how we could have avoided that if at all possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big figure.
That's difficult, isn't it? I agree. I don't know enough about Manchester United, but I can understand why after Sir Alex leaving, and also pivotal players will probably come into the end of their time at the same time as him leaving, to replace that and keep moving forward. I mean, there might have been mistakes, so it's not my thing, but I can understand why it feels like a long period for a club the size of Manchester United. But it just shows you that I think that how cutthroat and fast moving this Premier League is, because if you come off the gas in terms of recruitment or whatever, or you have a bad time, climbing back up there, people think, oh yeah, you're Chelsea will be in the Champions League again next year, or Arsenal, you'll be there. Like, Arsenal had to work a long time to come back and challenge for the league last year. It was a lot of work, and people were criticising Mikel Arteta in the beginning, and now they've worked together and stuck together and recruited really well, and now they're ready to go. So I mean, I don't think we should expect, even you being a Manchester United fan or me having a Chelsea head on that, next year it's going to be great. Like, everyone else is moving forward too,
Not bad, Super Frank. I think Punditry would be brilliant. Just no stress.
What ages, aren't we?
Younes is like, I've been saying this forever.
No, all of us. So I've seen many people go, no, Punditry is the one for him. And it's true, because the guy can speak. But in terms of, I have to be honest, right? In terms of what we just saw, you can tell they're all media trained, but you can tell he's media trained.
Yeah.
He was very articulate. He did not want to push any wrong buttons. He was, treading on very thin ice. He knew when he was asked about Chelsea. So he was like, okay, I'll just crash the surface and I'm out. So yeah, it was like that. We all knew what was happening behind the scenes. So yeah, he was not very critical of the recruitment process also, but he threw in some bits and pieces of how he wanted it to happen, or threw in Declan Rice over there. So yeah, he knows what he's doing.
It's an interesting one. I mean,
that's a good comment right there from Martin. PR repair job.
Yeah, he does not want to, tarnish his image. Like, he has had a bad stint at Chelsea's second time round. So he really wants the fans
to clean that up.
Him for his, he wants to clean that up, and if given an opportunity in the future, he should be considered. So yeah.
See, this is the thing. Like, Frank,
he wants that. He really wants that Chelsea job one more time. I'm telling you guys, on his terms.
It's not third time's the charm. Like, let's leave it now.
I genuinely think. I think this is, I think, for Frank, this whole podcast, I think, is more about him rather than, trying to find out what happened in the past. I think this is, and hence why he probably accepted to go on such a big podcast, because it'll have the reach, is to just maybe try and repair his image. Because right now, let's be honest, there's no club that's going to come in for him. But if he can find a way to get all the reasoning out there and what happened, and maybe there'll be some clubs that will look and go, okay, I kind of get it. Maybe he deserves an opportunity. And if that happens, then he gets back into the swing of things. I genuinely think it's one big publication of his CV with reasoning as to why it went wrong before. That's what it feels like to me, this whole podcast.
Yeah.
Is he even answering the questions? A lot of waffles as one of the super chats.
That's why I said
I felt that as well. I think one of the biggest things he was trying to allude to is that big squad. And we all know that's a problem, but you
knew what you were coming into, innit?
Yeah, you're the many. Like, this is one type of problem. You're going to come across so many different types of problems as a manager. You can't just have an excuse ready for every single one of these problems all the time. Like, this was your problem here at Chelsea. Okay, let's say, for argument's sake, Frank Lampard picks up another Premier League job somewhere down the track. Does he think that Premier League team will never have any level of problems? Like, it'll just be smooth sailing all throughout, and Frank can do whatever Frank wants to do. My man, every single Premier League team, their managers are up for sacking next season, like straight up, like every single.
Apart from Pep, probably.
Apart from Pep and maybe to a certain degree Klopp, I even said, if Arsenal don't deliver,
I think Klopp is. Yeah, if Klopp was to finish outside the top 4 again, I don't know. I think
he may be finished.
I think it'd be a conversation. I think
Arteta, after getting Declan Rice, Havertz, Julian Timber, they're looking to.
How much have Arsenal spent under Arteta in total?
A lot.
Around 600 million or something, if I'm not wrong.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all you need to know.
We could spend that a lot faster. Trust me, we could spend that a lot faster.
Counting the contract extensions also in that. So,
it's
high time he has to deliver now.
Bottom line,
but
needs to wake up and just.
I think Punditry, somebody recommended sporting director as well, just recruitment and things like that. Obviously network, if you've got a great network, which he obviously has a network, then that's a job that you can do as well. Do you think Lampard should join DR Sports? I think I think his price might be too high, but if he's willing to negotiate down, then you never know what Don Robbie can do. But let's discuss some of the rumors from yesterday as well. I mean, obviously Lukaku is nearing his way out. I'm gonna be throwing a leaving party when he does officially go.
Mate, I'm there.
I'm gonna do a
Younes
leaving party stream
in his videos for Lukaku. This guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
Do you know what? Yeah. Lewis has been throwing leaving parties, but I'm not throwing leaving parties for anyone outside of Lukaku, because that's where all my energy is going. And that will be a party. I mean, I'm going Centre Parks next week with my family, and if he leaves next week, I'm just going to set up the stream in the room. I'm going to log into the stream on my phone, and I'm going to be jumping into pools, just drinking cocktails, just backstroke swimming, everything. I'll just be living my life. That will be the stream. I won't even say anything. Lukaku leaving party. Lukaku leaving party, and it's just me running around. I'm just gonna be living life. I'll ask the masseuse to hold the camera. Everything. Oh God! But I see Mrs. in the comments of some of the Twitter posts. He's like, "Inter Milan, just pay the money."
Oh man! Two clubs. I want Todd Bowley to publicly come and deliver a statement saying you will never deal with Brighton and you will never deal with Inter Milan. Please, no need to. No need to deal with them ever again. Specifically Inter Milan. Like, these guys, they will sell players to us for unbelievable amount of money, and they'll buy our players for like peanuts. Like, stop. Absolutely stop, man. So this is the last transaction. Hopefully. Do you know what the crazy part is with this Lukaku thing? We've got an offer from Saudi Arabia for £40 million. There's an offer on the table from, I believe, Al Hilal for £40 million. We've told Inter Milan, come and get your man for 40 million. We've got an offer for 40 million. Come and get your man for 40 million. Inter's like, okay, we'll come back. And they come back with 30 million euros. Dude, are you not reading? I said 40 million.
I genuinely think they're deaf. I swear.
It's a proper scam. It's a proper scam. No one can convince me otherwise. I've made a proper step-by-step breakdown of Lukaku's transfer to Chelsea and his insistence on going back on Inter Milan. It's a proper, well thought out scheme. Lukaku got a significant pay raise from 185 to 325 when he joined Chelsea for that one season, and Inter get their 60 million back as in profit. Sold him for 100, will get him for around 30-35. Minus you add the loan fee also, you get a profit of around 60 million. It's a proper, well thought out scam we have been done for, man.
Problem is, I pointed this out yesterday. What we gave them how much to buy Lukaku in the first place?
100
Was
million.
it
97.5 97.5 million pounds.
Exactly.
All right. Wait, where's that gone?
They went to the casino.
What have you done with that
Vegas.
Where
they
is
said
it?
Red.
and now they're in the red.
All in red.
I think most of that has been used to clear off their debts. They are in 320 odd million in debt right now. So, they need to pull something like this to get out.
And they're about to sell Onana 455.
But that's the thing. The Onana money is what's going to be used to sign Lukaku. I think that's why
it has to be.
That's why until now I'm at a point where I'm actually like I'm not even stressing because I'm like until Onana gets done and signed and here we go and officially contract.
And they sold Hakimi also for 70 million, if I'm not wrong.
Brozovic to Al Nassr for 55.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? Someone put up a mad comment. Someone put up a mad comment on my live stream earlier today, right? And it made me like, I swear Inter's so gonna do this. So they're gonna get Lukaku back from us. Yeah, it's gonna happen. He only wants to go to Inter Milan, and we want to get rid of him. It's gonna happen. How much is the fee? We'll figure it out. You know how Lukaku is refusing to go to Saudi now? Wait and see what Inter does with Lukaku. Wait where his destination ends up being. He'll end up going to Saudi Arabia and watch Inter Milan make the millions out of him. Watch how they make the millions. Because Milinkovic-Savic has left Lazio to go to Saudi. There's a lot of Serie A players that are going to Saudi Arabia. I'm so certain Inter Milan will find an agreement after next season and they'll get 60, 70 million for Lukaku from Saudi Arabia.
But what contribution did Lukaku have last season so that Inter are considering him as their priority signing?
He come on off the bench in the Champions League final and missed
like 3 chances.
Apart from that, what was his major contribution?
Nothing. He was injured predominantly.
According to Inzaghi, he was a key player.
Yeah. So
when anyone with a half a brain cell, as in the nightclub player,
anyone with a half a brain cell in Inter Milan's management would be able to figure it out. Like, he is a washed player. Why do we need him?
It's good see, this is the thing, Baba. You know how you said he's a...
but that's a scam. Yeah, that
he's
proves my point. It's a scam. It's a scam.
He's a scam. Yeah, because they know if they get Lukaku back, they'll be able to sell him elsewhere again and make 60, 70 again on him. He's a mad scam artist. He's a mad scam artist to have.
I have got something very no, I won't say that.
Certain players are used to move money around, right?
Alvaro Morata.
Lukaku is one of them. Morata, Choupo-Moting. These players, you use them to move the money around.
Morata was proper Mr. Money Launder. That's
Martin is saying he's proper Inter.
But but the thing is, I don't think Morata minded that happening. I think he was happy to just be, moving about for money laundering purposes, not a problem, right? But for Lukaku, when he does get shifted off to Saudi by Inter, I genuinely think he's going to be looking at Inter going, "I thought you loved me." Like, what? Why are you letting me go?
Inter be like, bro, you don't even know you're getting scammed.
Can I also say as well, Liverpool are about to bring in about 50 million potentially for Fabinho and Henderson. So Fabinho
going as well.
Fabinho, there's just been I think Ornstein just said there's been a £40 million pound from Saudi. And
where's Carragher?
And where's Carragher? That's what a lot of people are asking. Waiting for him to tweet. And Henderson, obviously, last night was a 10. I think Liverpool say they want 10 million today. They want 10 million for Henderson. I think he was offered 700,000 a week. Henderson, which is absurd.
Mad,
so,
but that's apparently base salary at Celtic.
Yeah, that's base. That's normal.
James Milner would be like,
that's minimum wage.
That's minimum. That's just to get you your packet of crisps.
I must have waited for a little bit. James Milner.
Oh, James Milner.
He just signed for Brighton. He must be thinking I should have waited for a little bit.
James Milner could have cashed in, man.
He would have cashed in.
Yep.
He must be hating Brighton. If I'm him, I'd rescind my contract with Brighton. I'll go, look, let me pay it out.
I can afford to once Saudi come and give me my money.
Yeah. James Milner's fit. He'd be banging in Saudi Arabia.
I think he'd get a move. Crazy. So listen, at some point I'm expecting that people will start to dig into FSG and see if there's any 5% link to Saudi in terms of investment, because now Fabinho and Henderson, that's two players that they're getting sold to Saudi clubs, so there must be some sort of conspiracy going on.
Well.
If not, then
Don't forget Steven Gerrard as well. Throw him in there too, in the mix.
Jamie Carragher ends up over there. We're really going to have a tough conversation.
Can you imagine Jamie Carragher pundit on Saudi Sports TV?
Rio Ferdinand calling in.
Oh god, this super chat says Lampard wanted Rice after his first season. Where do you think we will be now if we bought Lampard's targets instead of Kai, Timo, etc.?
Oh, those were his targets too. Let's remember.
Kai was his
Yes,
target.
definitely his
I'm not
target.
sure. Kai was definitely his target.
But they say Kai was a club signing, but
No, Timo was a club signing.
Lampard...
He saw himself in Kai Havertz, that second striker, attacking midfielderish kind of player.
Lampard saw himself in Kai Havertz.
Yeah, he wanted Kai
Does he have
Havertz
a
to
skittle
replicate.
addiction as well? And love
Does
dog.
Lampard understand what he was
Oh
playing
my
for?
god! Look, Lampard definitely had an eye for seeking out, good talented players, but I think he still would have struggled as a manager to overtake the likes of Pep and Klopp, and he would have still come out.
No, we can't put put them in the same bracket of a sentence, let alone. Nah. We love love Lamps as a person, but as a manager, I'm sorry, man. No.
It's a strange one as well. Like, this is a good comment, obviously, for the conspiracy of people, but Steven Gerrard obviously helping Liverpool out with the whole money thing. But Kai Havertz one of them strange players where it's like he has probably more from a younger age. He probably actually had more talent than Lampard did at a younger age. Because remember, Lampard got doubted. Yeah. Lampard got a lot of doubts when he was at West Ham, and he had to work quite hard to become the player he was. But if you don't have that hard work and the mentality to be better,
young Frank is gonna go to the very top.
What was that accent? Oh my days!
That's Harry Redknapp.
It was my best Harry Redknapp impression. Sorry, I'm from India. Deal with it.
Indian Harry Redknapp.
That wasn't bad, I'm not gonna lie. That wasn't too bad.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah. Also, obviously, Liverpool now, that means they're raising money. I'm assuming for Lavia, not for Caicedo, just to, hopefully there's not another. But I feel like
we've had Thuram also. They were after Catherine Thuram also.
They were, but that's done now. That's done. Yeah, they're not going to be going after him. I think that we've had I'd say part one of the transfer window is over, right? Your Declan Rices, your Timbers, your, McAllisters, your Jacksons, Mason Mounts, all of those sagas. That's part one. Part two now is going to kick off soon, I think, and it's going to be very interesting when all this money comes in for clubs, and obviously we still have things to do. Mbappe has to move. Goalkeeper situations, that will be a snowball effect. We saw a link yesterday: Kepa, David De Gea, and Hugo Lloris to PSG.
Yeah, I found that very strange, actually.
All three of them have different faults, if we're being honest. I don't really know what's going on there at PSG. They've got Donnarumma, so unless they're looking for a second choice, but why would you want to shell out such big wages and big cost, payments on second choice? Those guys are not cheap.
Apparently, it's not second choice.
Donnarumma's going to the bench.
Well, apparently, Luis Enrique isn't convinced with.
See, this is the thing.
Oh, he definitely doesn't want De Gea then. He left him out of the Spain squad.
Modern day, football is going towards where goalkeepers better stop playing as a midfielder. They better be midfielders. I'm pretty certain we're going to see midfielders turn into goalkeepers. That could be the next switch. Because you already know how to play the with your feet. Just
Onana at Everton. It's got to be someone tall.
Just put some gloves on and now figure out how to be a goalkeeper.
Camavinga's making some good saves in the video I've seen as well.
Hey, he made some top saves.
Saves. And he's played left back, so now I think he could play anywhere.
Maybe left back come goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? He could. Can you imagine goalkeeper moving towards left back? There's a gaping hole in the goal. Your goalkeeper's in the left back.
We could have a rule in future where they bring in rush goalkeepers. Do you remember rush goalkeepers when you were playing on your area, and the keeper would run out and become a striker, and then someone else would come in and make the save?
Those were the chaotic days. I used to love them. But yeah, it's understandable. Luis Enrique coming in, he wants a particular goalkeeper that's going to be good on the ball. They can build up from the back. They can, have relief when the opposition is pressing all of the players, and you need that numerical advantage. Your goalkeeper gives you that advantage. We saw what Andre Onana, even Pep Guardiola post the Man City, the Champions League final, he said it's difficult to press a team like Inter because you have a goalkeeper like Onana who becomes the extra man, and he's not just an extra man. And this is where I have an issue with Kepa, because we can potentially make Kepa an extra man as well. But Kepa, I feel like he's a bit overrated when it comes to ball distribution. Everyone thinks and feels that, he's great on the ball. I've seen Kepa make some like stupid passes. Do you know what I mean? So Onana, on the other hand, I swear, like this guy could be a register.
But for the three players that were linked, it has to be Kepa then, because David De Gea can't play out from the back. Hugo Lloris can't play out from the back. These two are trash playing out from the back. Kepa's at least decent. So if
we can't let go of Kepa, Matisse. Like,
if we're letting go of Kepa, we would absolutely have to get a big name goalkeeper. Like, and this is why I'm hesitant on spending big on a striker, because we don't know what's going on yet with other areas like midfield. We need to spend big on a midfielder, right? Most likely that's what we're going to do anyway. Goalkeeper, if that situation isn't over, and because say PSG come in, Miz, with a 60 million offer for, sorry, let's say PSG come with a 50 million even, or even a 40. I would take it, bro. I'm taking it.
But who are you getting though? Like it's
that's
late
thing,
now.
Yeah. Well, it is lateness is greatness, but you know, people
getting Matisse in the goals.
Yeah, there are options out there, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think if we got rid of Kepa, say we sold him for 40, 50, I don't know what we need to sell him to break even, because obviously we signed him a long time ago and he's extremely expensive on the books. But I think that's a lot of money for Kepa. Say 50 million. Let me see. Does it actually say?
But it's PSG. It better be 50 million. It's PSG.
Apparently, according to
print money over there.
According to this graphic, it's 20.4 million to break even on Kepa. But I don't know how far he is into his contract. When did we sign him? We signed him in 2019. It's 2023.
Sorry season.
No, sorry season.
He's still got a long time left on his contract. His contract expires in. He signed a 7-year deal.
No, 7.
Yeah. He signed a 7-year deal.
I think it was a top volley back then.
So he's got 3 years left.
Must have recommended that.
So 2026, his contract should be.
We were ahead of the game.
So
2 years left.
So I don't think that figure can be correct. There's no way it's 20 million.
Now, look, bottom line, PSG, 40 million, 40, 50 million minimum.
Yeah.
Yo, PSG, I don't care about the book value. Don't worry about the book. Close the book. Talk to me eye to eye. Don't look at my accounting.
No, but seriously, if we were to get a goalkeeper right now, what are the options left? Realistically. And again, then the selling club will pump money out of us. They'll put us on a leash, like pay.
Can we hijack Onana? Is that possible? Can Onana?
Yeah, why not?
Be hijacked?
Give Inter 15 million and get Onana.
I don't understand that. No, honestly, from that aspect, I don't understand how we've not tried to actively go for Onana. When the deal was there, if they want Lukaku.
Well, okay, so Miz was saying
he wants Man United.
Yeah, and this is where I was like, okay, I'm going to ease off on it because Ten Hag, former manager, they're in Champions League. He wants to play for his old manager. They are obviously finished a lot higher than us. I can understand why he choose them over us. Pochettino has never been linked with Onana as well in terms of like Pochettino wanting Onana. Yeah. He's been linked with Martinez, I think, at Aston Villa. Because obviously both Argentine, that was a small little connection. I think if it's Ten Hag talking to Onana on the phone versus Poch, I think Ten Hag's he's cleaning up house. The
only goalkeeper that comes to my mind, and I think Matisse will agree on this one because we've watched this particular goalkeeper live in Champions League, Diogo Costa from Porto. Like he's got the ability, ball distribution.
Very expensive though, isn't it?
Oh, but you're gonna have to break the bank if Kepa leaves. Do you know what I mean? You need.
Would you be confident spending that kind of money on him?
But I ain't spending money on David Raya or Emiliano Martinez is a good shot stopper, but once again with the ball.
That AC Milan goalkeeper, right? Mike Maignan.
Nah, they don't want to sell him.
Yeah,
I feel like Martinez.
Big money.
But big money as well. We want someone good on the ball. That's the problem.
Mike Maignan would be fantastic. I would take him, but AC Milan won't sell him.
85 mil.
He's like potentially good. He's like Courtois' potential level of shot stopping.
Yeah,
and cross collection.
Very good on the ball as well. Very good.
I would love to bring him in.
I said yesterday, if PSG were to go for Kepa, and it's true, the circumstances doesn't fit quite well. If they were to get rid of Donnarumma and AC Milan were to get him back, but the fan base over there apparently don't like him. I know I was on to that, and I said, but then Mike Maignan to would be great, right? But apparently AC Milan hate Donnarumma's guts now. And fans would probably like.
I don't see that one happening. People have said Navas. Navas is a really good shout as a stopgap or cheaper option. Bono at Sevilla was mentioned previously.
Bono, not bad. Bono,
Just like because it depends on how much or how quickly we think Selena can be in the team. If he's a young, promising Courtois, David De Gea can play at a young age for a top team. If he's that, then you don't need someone long term because he can come in maybe in a season or two. If he's not, then obviously we need someone long term. So it depends on how they're assessing his development. I don't know. I've not got to see much of him. So apparently Bono's going Bayern, some people say. These are stopgaps for sure. Sommer's going to Inter, I think, to replace Onan. I think I've seen links for Sommer to Inter.
Sommer was going to Bayern, wasn't it?
He's already at Bayern. He's at Bayern. He played quite a lot last season. Yeah, so I think apparently he's going to Inter. But then also Inter being linked with Hugo Lloris. So I'm not sure. We scored 38 goals from an XG of 55, and you say we don't need a striker. We've been crying out for a top goal scorer ever since Costa left. Well, we signed a striker in Jackson. We signed in Cuckoo, who can strike the ball. And we have Broja, who was he can score goal. He joined top goal scorer in the Bundesliga. Of course. And Broja is not involved in that statistic because he wasn't even playing last year. So my point is we've signed forwards. We haven't signed a big name forward, which is what everyone craves. But how many times have we signed a big name forward and they don't work out? So I'm not really in this big forward mood. I'm in this mood of I know you've mentioned the XG, but you should take a look at the big chances created as well last season, and you'll see we're sitting in mid-table. So if we can have intelligent footballers in between the lines, like City do, like a Cherky or whoever, and they can actually create high volume, high quality chances, we are naturally going to score more goals. Sterling, he will get goals. I know he misses chances, but he will get goals. That's what he does season in, season out for other clubs. So we have people that can get goals. I'm not saying that it's enough, but I'm not trying to build the perfect team this summer. I'm trying to make sure we don't make any mistakes this summer. I don't want to make we cannot afford to make any mistakes. And I don't like the striker market. So I'd rather wait until next summer, make sure that we're absolutely clear that Jackson and the others are not good enough to step up to lead the line. And then we can say, okay, actually, this is seriously now cherry on the top of the cake. And the team is sorted and we just need a striker. And then you make sure you get the right striker. And then you're sorted for the second season of Poch for me to challenge for the league. That's the aim. I'm looking to challenge for the league second season if we do everything correctly. What we can't do is get someone on a 5-year contract that we're not sure on because we need to get the dopamine. And then next thing you know, they don't work out. And then we're stuck in the same situation of trying to sell another number 9 for half the cost we paid.
Or, right, instead of waiting until next summer, what do you guys think, and chat as well, or get involved, about Paul Winstanley's plan to move for Ivan Toney in January?
You know me, I like Ivan Toney. But the only thing with Ivan Toney is he's now banned for a certain amount of time. What Ivan Toney is we getting in January? Like fitness-wise.
He's banned till Jan.
Yeah, like fitness-wise, what are we getting? If we're getting the same Ivan Toney that he was before the ban, that was smashing in goals in the Premier League, I'm big fan of taking Ivan Toney. I think, if Harry Kane obviously leaves on a free next summer and that's not an option, and I just want him to have to think about considering us. What I don't want, right, is Man United sign Højlund. Arsenal, he would never go there. He would never really come to us either. City are sorted, Liverpool are never going to go for him. But I don't want us to sign someone and then that's why we're off the table. And then I start hearing he would have considered us, but we have a striker now. I want us to not have that massive profile there. And then if next summer comes around and he hasn't got many options, maybe he has to think about it. And if he has to think about it, and then he says, "No, cool, Ivan Toney's there." If he has to think about it, and he says, "You know what? Shit, I might have to." I'm gonna be ecstatic. It's like a 1% chance, 99% faith. But I want to have that chance because that's the type of signing that immediately title contenders straight away.
See, I like Ivan Toney as well a lot. Matisse talked about the footballing side of things, that he is banned till January, and I don't think he gets to train or anything, use any of the facilities at the football club. I'm sure he'll probably do train elsewhere, but what type of a physical condition are you going to get Ivan Toney? It's probably going to take him another month on top of that to condition and come back. So by then you're looking at about Feb, early March. But that's the footballing side of things, yeah? I can't ignore the human being as well. Like 256 charges. gambling charges. He's been deemed by the court to have a genuine gambling addiction. What about that? Can he sort himself out? Because this addiction, I know, this is not something that just gets out of your blood that easily. This is difficult to get rid of. But can he, like this guy, 256 times he gambled with Brentford.
We could look at it from the other aspect of, hopefully Chelsea get to a point where if he were to bet against Chelsea, that he would lose his money because we're winning games every week.
So he won't bet on Chelsea.
This is why we can't be going with stake.com as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you imagine if that was our sponsor and Toney put that?
Oh my God.
We're poking the bear, isn't it? If the food are doing that.
No, it's a point to make. You're right, Miz. I reckon in terms of, I reckon that human aspect is actually more important than the whole footballing aspect. Why? Because the footballing side, you have to remember, he's banned. He can't, go to the training ground and whatnot. But because he's still contracted, Brentford are not going to be stupid. Brentford will have coaches going to him and keeping him completely in shape and completely conditioned. He won't be on his own at home, just chilling, having to get up off his sofa and go on a treadmill by himself. That's not going to happen. He will be under a certain regime, even at home. So that's not a problem. Unlike Mbappe at PSG, where PSG will probably go, we ain't sending you anyone, mate. You're rotting on the bench if worse came to worse. But with the gambling side of it, that's a point. And I hope that's not a genuine problem.
But just the overriding point is the striker market is probably going to get better, not worse. I mean, Vlahovic, cool. We can believe in him. That
Vlahovic to PSG
even
apparently.
next summer, but Vlahovic could be going elsewhere. But Vlahovic is probably low on confidence. He's not had a great season. Martinez, I think everybody probably has some doubt about him just in terms of leading our line. Big moments, big games. Does this guy turn it on, or does he shrivel up into a shrimp? And then you take a look at who else have we been. Colwell is obviously very, very expensive, but maybe not an out-and-out clinical ruthless finisher. But that would be my favorite of the choice purely from a footballing aspect. But even you've seen Julian Alvarez. Now, I don't think Julian Alvarez is going anywhere this summer. Bro. But if Julian Alvarez doesn't get much opportunities next season, I pray that man sits on the bench all season, or at least doesn't start many games and he has to come off the bench and whatnot. It makes his impacts, and we know he's a quality player. If they get into a Jesus selling, mood,
is he in the market now?
With him, no, I don't think he is. No.
Teams Arsenal let's get him. I don't think
he is. If that guy became available, I want us to move. Can you imagine?
Argentinian.
Yes.
Connection.
Yes.
Poch.
Yes. Poch. Yes.
Enzo and Alvarez back.
Yes.
This is what I tweeted. This is what I tweeted the other day. This is what I tweeted. Like it all sort of, because I started seeing Alvarez. Man United are after him, or Arsenal are after him. This, that, the other. I'm like, is this guy in the market? Because I always had this feeling he's not going to be in the market, man. Pep will find a way to put Hairline and Alvarez together.
Exactly.
Because that's the missing, that's the missing formation with Pep at the moment. And Pep, we all know, always likes to solve puzzles. So I was like, why are Arsenal and Man United fans talking about Alvarez? Why aren't Chelsea fans why aren't we talking about Alvarez as well? Like we should be.
I don't think he'd leave after one season, though.
Yeah. So he signed a new contract as well, right? He signed a new bumper contract.
Yeah.
But it's like you look at Jackson. I'll say he gave me Tammy vibes to an extent because he can't head the ball and he's got the height to do so. But Tammy got 15 Premier League goals, non-penalty goals. I'd take that right now. Most people would take that from a big name. I'm not saying Jackson can get that, but we don't have to have one person gets all the goals. We can share the goals out. If Nkunku chips in, Sterling chips in, Mudryk, I'm expecting Mudryk to chip in, right? He
better chip in.
He better chip in. Do you know what I mean? I'm expecting
less of bum cracks, more goals.
I'm expecting Jackson and Broja to chip in. Arsenal last season, it was shared out, and funnily enough, the guy in the middle only got 11. Jesus. They went into the market in January, brought in Trossard. Martinelli and Saka, and these are the guys. Odegaard, they were the ones that got into double digits for goals. with the vision of Enzo and the running in behind of Mudryk and Sterling, what's to say these guys can't do that? I think as a fan base, obviously we're pessimistic on this because, you know, we've been struggling in this position for quite some time, but we've got a new manager that's going to play a new way and hopefully is going to, you know, set up a system for chance creation where we actually do obviously, you know, get past. My biggest fear as a Chelsea fan to this day continues to be low blocks at home against shit teams. That is my biggest fear. And the more people that have the key to the door, the better. That's how I see it. You know, because even though we have Enzo gets an injury, next thing you know, we're screwed. You know, so in terms of, you know, from a vision, passing aspect. So for me personally, that's always going to be the main kind of Achilles heel. I'd expect coaching wise to be, you know, improving people's finishing on a week to week basis. Obviously, there's nobody in there that people see as a ruthless, you know, finisher who that's his bread and butter. But like I said, there's other teams that don't have. I wouldn't say Saka was a ruthless finisher. I wouldn't say Martinelli was a ruthless finisher. Or, you know, when they first joined, or I wouldn't say that, you know, Jesus definitely isn't. But, you know, with quality chance creation and coaching, some of them have chipped in. So
as you said, it was all spread across. It wasn't just one player, and hence they didn't even have a proper number 9. When you think about it, it's Jesus wasn't even that guy. So no, it was spread across, and I think Chelsea are looking to build something along those sort of lines. If we were to get, we already have Nkunku, we get Shirky, and fingers crossed, if we see what happens between Jackson and Broja, or we end up getting a striker, who knows? But even from our wings, I'm expecting things like Mudryk, for example. You guys have seen his physical transformation.
Is that a good thing?
That's a great thing. It reminds me of the way that Hazard came in after his first season. He was skinny, wasn't he? Do you remember? And he had to bulk up because he was getting muscled off the ball. He came back that first pre-season under Jose, and boom, you could just see mass put on, strength added on, lower center of gravity, and he couldn't be caught. I hope Mudryk, because it seems like he's a serious guy, is going to be that guy as well. And for Sterling, we have to remember, like when we signed him, we were saying it on here, if you remember, when he has players around him that are able to keep his level up, he will end up performing and getting you goals. But if everyone around him drops, we're going to bring him down to our level. And that's what happened with Sterling. He just fizzled out because he's not at City under Pep and with all the quality that he had before. Hopefully that's going to reverse now. And if we are to start popping with these new players especially, hopefully Sterling can elevate his game as well. Yeah.
It's another thing. A lot of these strikers, right? They don't. It's not like they're Mbappe when they begin with. You look at Victor Osimhen, right? First season in Serie A, 10 goals. Next season, 14 goals. This is potentially where Jackson's operating at. It's only last season that he hit 26. People are willing to pay 100 and PSG. Napoli have told PSG you need to pay 200 million euros for this guy. He's only just hit over 20 one season in the league. This is what people are going crazy for. I'm personally not. I'm not on it. We're not even talking about Benzema's and Lewandowski's and Suarez's and Aguero's that have been year in, year out, bang, 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 bang. Harry Kane, this goes into this, right? We're talking about players that have only hit over 21 time. And this is who people are telling me we absolutely have to get, or we're going to liquidate. Nah, bro. I'm sorry. No, I'm genuinely not. I'm not entertaining this convo with this. Oh, we must. No, we must not. Actually, we must not.
Never at that price.
No.
150 million. Apparently, that was initially quoted. You're now telling me 200 million quoted to PSG. Not at that price, man. We need to stay away from that level of business ever again. We should have learned.
But this is
learned the lesson with
coaching.
Lukaku.
This is coaching, bro. Like people just don't want to coach anymore. That's coaching. What I just read out there, that improvement is just coaching.
Yeah. And Spalletti has done a madness at that Napoli team, and you know people think we just spend that money on Osimhen, 150 million, and he's going to come in, and Poch does not need to give him any instructions, doesn't need to coach, as Matisse saying. And he'll just score goals, like, for fun. No, it all has to come together. Everything. Now, I'm not saying Osimhen is not a good player. My personal preference would be Victor Osimhen as well. Like, out of all the strikers that's in the market available, 100% it would be Victor Osimhen. But 150, 200 million, nah, man. I'm not in for that kind of business anymore. Do you know what I mean? So
Man United are going after Hairline for 80 million euros. This guy's 9 goals last season in Serie A.
Yeah, see, that's mad as well. That is mad.
Like...
That's mad. Like we don't know any. Like Man United probably don't even. I don't think they've even scattered it. Like Man United seriously just looked at Twitter, go, "Oh, this is what everyone's talking about. Let's just go get him." I don't think Man United scattered this guy. I only figured out who this player was about 2 months ago. I still don't know like what are his qualities because I don't watch Atalanta every single week. I understand there's a value that you pay for potential. I get that. But you ain't seen nothing about this kid. Like with Erling Haaland, guys. With Haaland, you could see Salzburg killing it. Dortmund killing it. Like you go, all right. We see where you're going, my man. You're gonna be a monster. Is this
like I have no problem us paying 100 million for the best of the best. Never will. Like if it was Harry Kane and we had the money and he wants to join Chelsea, put the 100 million down now. Let's go and get him. Like absolutely go and get him. This is your Sir Alex Ferguson, Van Persie win the league signing. This is he's a needle mover. Go and get him. It's no doubts. But you have to assess risk versus reward. If you're not doing that, then you're not running things properly, right? You have to be able to assess risk versus reward, and you have to be able to look at previous evidence and use it for future judgment. It's not about being scared. It's about not making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. And unless they are a bona fide needle mover, unless you're gonna come drop the maddest Vlahovic report on my head top on the desk to be like, yeah, this guy is it, no doubts. Lautaro Martinez, no doubts. If you have doubts, come out the office. Simple. Come out of the office. Because it's like you can do a lot more damage to Chelsea Football Club making the wrong signing this summer than you can anything else. If you make the wrong signing on
a long-term contract,
say we sign these guys to 7-8 years. And obviously amortize the fee over 5, but you can still sign 7-8 year contracts for 60, 70 million. Say we get it wrong. What now? What now?
They go to
Do you know what I mean? We can't. I think we've got it wrong enough. Saeed challenged me on Big Six the other day yesterday, and he said, I bet I can name more flops from your club in the last 10 years than you can name from my club. And I said, you know what? Man United have had a lot of flops. But I started to, we've had a lot of flops.
Oh, we've had a lot.
We've had a lot of flops.
Yeah.
And the thing
you
is
can
about
name Harry Maguire, and with us, there's about 15 Harry Maguires. So.
Yeah. And the thing is about players like Jackson that there's the risk versus the reward is so good for us. Didn't cost a lot. So if he bangs, fantastic. If he doesn't, and he only gets 10 Premier League goals, and it's other people that have to chip in, fine. Then we know next season we have to go and get better. But also, if he doesn't and he gets 15, then we're laughing. We're absolutely laughing. So for me, I think at least people need to give it pre-season. They need to see Jackson kick a ball first before you start, saying you need to bench him. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see it.
I like this approach from Chelsea. Honestly, there's a few fans that are a bit irate. Why haven't we got players in this, that, the other? I can't put a single fault on how our board has conducted their business this summer window so far. Yeah, I think our owners have also learned as well from some of the mistakes that they did last season that you can easily see being translated to Pochettino, the way he's talking as well, with so much confidence, with so much exuberance, I suppose. You see it. And all of this is coming off the back of the confidence I'm pretty sure these guys are getting from the board level too. So I'm here to trust. Nicholas Jackson, I'm actually excited to see how he does in the preseason. And I hope he bangs. And that way we can just continue on finding these 30, 35 millions. Do you know what I mean? Just keep finding them.
Do you know what's mad, right? This statistic will blow your mind, right? Since Carlo Ancelotti's title-winning season, the only striker that has helped us with a league challenge is Diego Costa. That's the facts. Morata didn't bring us to a title challenge. Lukaku didn't bring us to a title challenge. Neither did Higuain or Abraham or Aubameyang, or you can go through every single striker. Timo Werner, Kai Havertz if he wants to be a striker. Every other player that played that position never took us to a title challenge. And it doesn't matter what amount of money we spent, whether it's 70 or 100 million, or it was for free from the academy. They all had us in the same top 4 rat race. So this is just to show, and I'll take it further. How many goals did Alexander Isak score at Real Sociedad the season before Newcastle signed him for 70 million euros? Y'all even don't want the answer to that.
15? 14?
15?
8.
6.
Wow. And they spent how much for Isak?
6 goals in 32 games in the 21-22 season. Now he got 17 the year before, but I don't know why he got 6 in the first place. The point being is that we're not challenging for the title next season, in my opinion. So
why not?
I love Younes, bro. I love it. He's so ready. He's pounced on that one. He pounced on Matisse.
We're back with this. It's been a while. Do you remember?
It's been a while.
They're like, no, we're going to win the league.
I don't know if he suffered with injuries because 32 games.
I think he did.
Maybe minutes played were a lot lower. But point being for him is that listen, you're scouting based on the talent and the technical ability, not just the output. People will probably look at him and think, he didn't hit 20 goals, so why would you pay so much money? But now I think a lot of teams would take him. So listen, Jackson has shown that he's technically not too bad. So let's see. Let's give him a chance is what I'm saying. I think the what you need to get into the top 4 is so much more than a ruthless striker. I saw Man United last season with Weghorst half the time up front. Martial was in the medical room. They didn't have a striker. It was Rashford that was carrying it from the left-hand side. And I think a lot of people are underestimating the goals that Sterling and Nkunku can get in a well-oiled machine and system. These guys should be able to put the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah,
you just nailed it, Matisse. Well-oiled system and machine. That's what we need. I go back to what Maurizio Sarri said in his season. The players should complement the system. The system should not rely on the players.
I agree.
The players should complement the system. So the system is first and foremost the most important factor. Because look at Arsenal fans, all right, in regards to Kai Havertz. Like we know what Kai gave us, and overall it was not good enough, right? You can probably deem it to a certain degree as being a flop. But Arsenal fans, on the other hand, they're thinking, yeah, he may not be great, but we do know that with the system that we have, he'll get chances. He'll get chances to put them away. That's the confidence that they have with their system. Do you know what I mean? Because there is a style, there is a structure. Anyone can come in and potentially seamlessly, pick up goals. So we need to get into that level where our structure, our organization dictates. And then whoever comes in, it don't matter. We won't have the issue about looking at the starting lineup. Oh my God, why is he starting it? It'll be like, yeah, the stock standard. Doesn't matter. It don't matter who comes in. Like, just do the job now. Go out there, do the job. You're going to get chances, put them away. Simple as. So, look, I'm not even giving up on David Datra Fofana. I know he's gone on a loan to Union Berlin. I hope he kills it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope he smashes it, yeah.
Man.
I hope so.
It's a mad move. It's a Champions League team.
Yeah.
But he's going to be playing Champions League. The only Chelsea player playing Champions League football. Do you know what I mean? So I hope he kills it, man. Absolutely kills it. And then, hopefully he comes into the conversation as well.
When we look at Jackson especially, Broya's Broya, but Jackson, the one good thing about him is that he's coming to the club and there's no pressure. There's no expectation. No one's looking at him going, this guy's gonna bang 35 goals. Or no one's really doing that. Everyone's going, okay,
it's because of the price tag.
See how he does. The price tag and his history doesn't exactly, make you think, this guy's gonna absolutely smash all the goals every week. But he seems like he has traits and abilities to maybe do so. And that's where I think it's a good... This is what a Chelsea striker needs right now with the way that it is at the club. We need to have strikers that are not going to have that pressure and expectation, but someone that does deliver, and then you go, oh, okay, fair play to him, you know? And then from there, it starts building and the confidence builds with it. And as long as we can do that, hopefully it means that we get goals. I look at Jackson, and I don't know why I get the vibe of, do you remember when Colwell was playing for us? And like, he wouldn't score every single week, but when he does score, it's like, yeah, good old Solomon, nice one. That was it. You know, I feel like
the sixth goal, the fifth goal.
There you are, yeah. You know, and look, we're starving for goals. So as long as he can contribute on that sort of level to begin with, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Mad. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, listen, I think it's all, some of it is also how much PR somebody gets. Jackson obviously was kind of an under the radar signing. He didn't get much PR. I think someone like Hairline from Atlanta, if we had signed him for 70 million, I don't think people would be asking. People wouldn't be asking for another striker though. It would have been us at Man United competing for him. We would have won his signature. People would have been like, fuck you, Man United. You got your guy ahead of you. And people would be expecting him to score 20 goals next season. That's our big name striker, even though he scored less goals last season. So I think a lot of it is PR, and a lot of it is in terms of stocks and whether or not someone's been given the hype pre-signing the deal. You know, less so just about the other factors as well. So, all right, let's go through these last few super chats before we wrap up, people. Here for Baba, but love you all. It's fine. Baba can be your favorite. It's just no hard feelings. You know what I'm saying? I get that a lot. But, Baba, the first show that you did, I swear, I think I don't know what happened, but the comments were just it was just like that's all the comments were, bro. That was brilliant.
That's how I roll, bro.
You've got an army. That's how you roll. He's got an army, bro. Get Ivan, Toney, and Jan with as a shirt sponsor, please. No. Just saw Ivan Toney at Vegas Casino. I guess he is on holiday, isn't it? He's injury prone. He's injury prone too. Hardly ever plays 30 games.
What I do want to say quickly about Ivan Toney is apparent, and people mentioned this earlier on. Apparently, those charges were like from 7 years ago.
That's what some people are saying. Yeah.
Is that true?
I mean, if that's the case,
7 years ago,
this could be a non-issue.
7 years ago, he was betting on Brentford.
No, apparently he wasn't actually betting on Brentford. He was betting about things happening elsewhere. But it was a lot, and you can't compromise as a footballer in terms of the market. And but this was 7 years ago, so it's
okay.
Is this a serious issue?
That would be kind
How
of
old is he now? How old is Ivan Toney?
He's at great age. He's like 27, I think.
So he was 20 when he was doing that.
Which kind of makes sense from that age.
Yeah, he's 27.
We're all a bit young and stupid. So
yeah. I mean, if that is the case, fair enough. Yeah. Mad to punish someone 7 years later.
It came to light, I guess.
Well, he's relevant now, isn't he? He wasn't relevant when he was in.
Was he even a footballer back then?
When he was playing for Peterborough, they weren't interested. Now he's on the borderline of getting in the World Cup squad. They're like, actually, hold on a second there, darling.
You placed too many accumulators back in the day, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
And I see some of them were winning tickets as well.
This super chat says, I hope Toney news for real, because if we can get him in January, then it provides Bro and Jackson a fair look. Best case, they hit the ground running and we push on. Yeah, exactly. Listen, we're going to wrap up, guys. It's been a long show. Big up everybody in the building. It's been brilliant. Younes, let the people know where to find you. We're a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Good one. And yeah, we gear up for pre-season and see what happens in terms of these signings. Hopefully this time next week, we've got Caicedo through the door and we can have a party and get ready to shift off Lukaku and have another party. So, to catch all my thoughts leading up to that, fingers crossed, Younes Talks Football. Double uploads at the moment. The odd day with one, but mainly double uploads. And find out the latest there.
There you are. Younes is not missing a thing, guys. Yeah, not a thing. If Bowie takes a drink, he knows about it, right? He ain't missing he is not missing a thing. That's how I'm keeping up. Not from me. I'm keeping up through him. And Miz as well, who's also doing double. Well, Miz just be always doing doubles. Miz don't know single.
I don't know single, bro.
He don't know about that single life. He always doing doubles. Miz, let the people know where to find you. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, no. Big up to Younes as well. Like not just even Chelsea. He's even outside of Chelsea, making sure every other fan base is being looked after. So he's on a madness, doubling on uploads on other clubs as well. Wow. That would be honestly that is an inspiration. I can't do it at the moment. I'm too tired, man. Just following Chelsea stuff. But yeah, the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, we're racing towards 25. So let's get there. As Matisse said, double uploads every day just to keep a track of what's happening in the morning, what's happening in the evening. It's two different stories, man. What happens in the morning, it's quickly irrelevant what happens in the evening. So you better be on the ball. So yeah, the other side of the coin. Subscribe.
True words have never been spoken. I can't count the amount of times that I've actually finished talking. I've gone to load up the tab and it's now irrelevant for what I've said.
Mate,
Bubba.
I've uploaded at 10:30 p.m. or 11 p.m. and then Ornstein or Fabrizio comes out with something completely irrelevant, like different to what I've just posted.
Yeah, because they don't stop, bro, until midnight. They don't stop. It's ridiculous.
Fabrizio was tweeting at, what was it, 2 a.m. the other day? I'm like, this is brother sleep.
Felix was dropping exclusives at 3 a.m. last night. It's just madness. Bubba.
You mean Ja Felix?
Bubba, let the people know. I know you put out a video about Lukaku and how he was the worst signing. I highly recommend. Brilliant video.
Honestly, I know you guys don't understand Hindi. That was a top video, man. Shout out to Bubba for that. You should try and do some English ones, like just to cater for everyone, I suppose. So.
Yeah, definitely will look into that. Yeah, I was away for a while, but now I'm back. So I've been doing some live streams and I've been uploading regularly for the last 3-4 days, I would say. So yeah, Drogbaba. The road to 200k has begun. Today only we completed 175k. So thank you everyone who has come along and subscribed to the channel. And
what a monster.
Mad.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bro, I remember he was on 35k and he WhatsApped me like, can you please talk to Younes? He's my idol. I'm like, dude, don't worry, I'll talk to Younes.
I'm saying,
not about the idol thing, but Younes is not all that. Like, he's all right. But now Bubba's on 175k, man. Like, that's mad.
I mean, numbers, they will not ever end. Right? Bob Marley said, how much money is a lot of money. So numbers will never end. So numbers are not relevant as long as people are loving our content. And yeah, the most important part is to follow me on Twitter. That's where it's going down.
Facts. I love it every time he says it.
By the way, it truly is going
and it
down.
truly is. He's not lying to you either.
There are some ridiculous stuff that I'm seeing on Twitter lately. It's just making me laugh, man.
That's where it's going down. Oh god. Right, guys, make sure you go and follow and subscribe to all the boys. Listen, links are in the description as always. For me, listen, I'm gonna get my hair cut and then I'm gonna see what happens later on, but most likely
haircut lol.
Yeah. you might see me again today. It all depends on if something serious actually takes place. But yeah, obviously we'll be back tomorrow if not. So yeah, big up your damn selves. Enjoy the rest of your day. In a bit, people. Peace.